Nestled in a palazzo just inside these gates lies a section of the Vatican never before seen by the outside world. This is where sex abuse complaints against the Catholic Church end up.
We're effectively seeing a tsunami of cases at the moment, particularly from countries where we never received cases in the past from before.
The Associated Press was given exclusive access to the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, the central processing center for abuse cases, as well as an appeals court for accused priests.
We're the buffer between the Pope, who's over here, and the victims and the Church, which is all around us.
Monsignor John Kennedy leads the CDF's discipline section. The CDF is overwhelmed, struggling with a skeleton staff that has not grown at a pace to meet the fourfold increase in the number of cases arriving in 2019 compared with a decade ago.
I know cloning is against Catholic teaching, but if I could actually clone my officials and have them work 3 shifts a day or work 7 days a week.
The Vatican wants to rebuild trust with rank-and-file Catholics who have grown disillusioned with decades of clergy abuse and cover-up.
I suppose if I weren't a priest and if I had a child who were abused, I'd probably stop going to Mass. I'd probably stop having anything to do with the Church, because I'd say, well, if you can't look after children, well, why should I believe you?
Kennedy says the Vatican is committed to fighting abuse and needs more time to process the cases. Pope Francis took a step toward showing greater transparency with his recent decision to abolish the so-called pontifical secret to increase cooperation with civil law enforcement in sexual abuse cases. Critics say the move was long overdue, but they still question a system that asks religious superiors to weigh the claims of a victim against the word of a priest.
No, I don't think the Vatican or the institutional church in general is capable of handling this in a competent manner. The Vatican itself, just using its own mechanism, its own canon law system, which is woefully inadequate to handle the numbers, to handle the complexity of the issue.
The CDF has processed 6,000 abuse cases since the office assumed responsibility nearly 20 years ago. And a new wave of complaints is arriving from countries outside of the U.S. and Europe.
If the CDF gets quoted on the New York Stock Exchange, I'd probably invest in them, because I don't see these cases going away anytime soon.
It's within these walls that a small staff tackles the enormous task of coming to terms with the crisis that has compromised the Catholic Church's credibility. Mike Householder, The Associated Press.